Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we have an exciting video because the 1931 Polo Club is here in Singapore, and you guys know how I feel about jaeger-lecoultre events. And for today's video, we'll be assembling a Reverso case. We'll also be trying on chocolates, yes you heard that right, and of course watches. What's an event without watches? Remember to like and subscribe if you like this kind of content, and let's get on with the video. So here we are at the jaeger-lecoultre boutique in Marina Bay Sands, and I'm wearing my bespoke double-breasted suit just because JLC is such a classic and elegant brand. And whenever they have an event, I have a feel to always dress up a little bit. So yep. And today's event will be about the Reverso, all about the Reverso. It will be around the theme of 1931 Polo Club, which is also the same theme back at Watches and Wonders early in April. And so really excited about today's event. JLC, in my experience, is the few brands that actually know how to do an event, a proper event. I like that they redecorated the whole boutique to the theme of the event. And of course, they also bring in a lot of the historical timepieces, the vintage timepieces that made the history and make the brand to where they are right now. And at the top right of your screen is the original Reverso Geographic, which also they relaunched this year at Watches Wonders 2025. The relaunch of the Reverso Geographic in steel and also in precious metal, which is a limited series. And I've covered that release in a previous video. Now for this year's event is a little special because they also brought along a watchmaking workshop or masterclass, which is called Atelier Antoine. And typically these classes are held back in HQ in the Valley de Joux for people whenever they visit the HQ. But sometimes they also bring it to the boutiques. And today will be all about the Reverso, and it will be all about the Reverso's case. And we begin with a few slides of the history of the Reverso and some movements as well. And this is the caliber 101, which at the time it was created in 1929. It was the smallest movement ever. And almost a century later, 100 years later, it is still the smallest movement yet. So really fascinating, and this is what makes jaeger-lecoultre the watchmaker's watchmaker, because of its history with movements and making movements for a lot of the popular brands that you know today. So back to the Reverso, and as you may or may not know, the Reverso is heavily inspired by the Art Deco movement. Art Deco is short for Arts Decoratives, which is a movement that embraces symmetry, geometry, and bold elegance. You can see a good example from popular buildings like the Chrysler Building in New York. But also what I learned in this event is that even locally in Singapore, there are buildings that are also inspired directly from the Art Deco movement. And it's none other than the Parkview Square, or more commonly known as the Gotham Building. This is an office building in Singapore, and if you're a local, you know exactly where it is. But let me know in the comment section below what are the buildings that are inspired by the Art Deco movement. And this is the official patent that was filed back in 4th March of 1931 for the Reverso's case. This glass is similar to the glass crystals that was used in watches back in the day, and we'll be doing a quick experiment by dropping this ball bearing on it to simulate the force of a mallet swing by polo players, and you guys can take a guess if it breaks the crystal.
Well, not so bad, huh?
Not so bad. So you guys are actually having quite a forceful strike. The last so-called demonstration we did, we had this.
And of course it did. This was the main reason the Reverso was created back in 1931, out of necessity, so that the polo players would stop breaking the crystals on their watches. And for today's workshop, we'll be focusing on the assembly of the Reverso's case. And this is roughly the blueprint of the case. We'll be focusing more on the lower half of that. So for the first step, we have to take the cradle and also the swiveling case and simply just put it together, just click it together into place. And it sounds simple, and it's meant to sound simple to trick you, but in reality this is probably the hardest step of the whole workshop. At least for me, I remember I struggled this part for at least a good 30 minutes. There was no tools needed for this step, and you just simply have to click it in place. But of course, it's not that simple. There are some grooves, there are some things that you have to click on the swiveling case in order for it to move into place with the cradle.
So that the bevel part is facing towards the cradle on both sides.
Which bevel?
Okay, I'll show you. It's here where it's important. When you look here onto the case like this, now I see that the bevel part is facing downwards, and here, then you can place the case back down onto the cradle, press here and here inside, and then it will slot in.
Let me see.
That was Michael from IHT Swiss Watch Atelier, and he is the lead instructor / trainer for today's workshop. And he definitely helped with the great explanation. And right after the explanation, I managed to click the case onto the cradle, and it's supposed to look something like this. But of course, he did help me a bit with the adjustments, so I just simply click it in place, and that is the first step done.
That's what keeps it.
Left good, right good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, very good. Well done.
Then is the crown in it or no?
The crown you can put as well. Yes.
This next step is relatively easy. You simply just have to take the crown and just screw it into place, and then you are done.
Slot it in from the top onto the cradle like this, and then you need to hold it together, firmly together. Yeah, and then open the case, that you can open it. Continue holding it together. You can never let go, otherwise it falls off this part. And then here, then you can say, just demonstrate. You take one screw, place it here, and then tighten it.
So that while in one hand you're holding this, you see the two slots.
Screw out again for you.
This is where you place the screw.
Alright.
So once you place the screw, you start to screw on, and then
That's good.
to place the screw on
Yes,
the
hold
side.
together.
One side first. Okay.
I see it's coming. Very good.
Is there a difference between
No,
the top side? It's the
doesn't
same?
matter, no.
Okay.
So yes. Oh, there we are.
Actually, in the manufacturing process,
No problem,
they
no
are
problem.
paired.
You have to.
We know which one is at 12 and
Now
which
you
one
find
is
that
at 6.
I see.
right here.
Because you polish them together.
Slot it on.
And
Okay.
then once it's polished together, then actually you should never interchange them.
So now we just take
Yeah,
screw it here, right?
Yeah, very good. You high up, right? Hold it like this, then you can even go down here.
And I must say, overall, the difficulty for this workshop is about a 3 out of 5 as compared to the first workshop that I went, I think, a few years ago, which was the assembly of the caliber 822. That one was much more complex as they had a lot more small parts and it required a lot more precision. But this one was a lot more, I guess, fun and informative. And at the end of every workshop, you will get a certificate with your name on it to say that you officially completed the workshop. And here's Michael from IHT Swiss Watch Atelier again, trying to pronounce my name. And he actually did it great on the first try. Thank you again to Michael for being a great instructor. You guys can check out IHT Swiss Watch Atelier because they do courses and watchmaking stuff as well.
Entry stage.
Sorry?
Pretty good.
Actually, that's pretty good. That's on point. Yes.
Congratulations for completing the discovery workshop.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Congrats.
1, 2, and 3. Nice.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
And we are done with the workshop part of the event, but the whole event is not done yet. For the second part, we have the afternoon snacks or desserts tasting. And to be honest, I was more excited for the dessert part than the workshop itself, because these are not just any random desserts. These were created by the latest collaboration of jaeger-lecoultre's Made of Makers program, chocolate craftsman Matteo Devon. Apologize if I mispronounce the name. But Matteo is a chocolatier, which really means that all of today's menu will be made of chocolate, including the drink. And I'll do my best to explain the menu and the food as we go along. And first up, we have the Harmonie de Chocolat, which is a chocolate sable biscuit topped with dark chocolate mousse and has a surprise of crisp cacao pearls and finished with a milk chocolate ganache sprinkled with hazelnuts. And each of these chocolates, you also have a pairing, a topping. This one is hazelnuts, so nothing too crazy. And this one was nice and quite enjoyable because it's not too foreign for me. But the other three will be a completely new experience. Next up is probably my favorite just from the aesthetic view, and this one is called the Galette de Bois. Again, I apologize if I mispronounce these words, but this is inspired by the polo ball, and of course around it you have the jaeger-lecoultre name, which I really hate to break it apart, but you have to do what you have to do. And this one is made of crisp praline, airy mousse, a soft sponge cake in the form of a polo ball, and the surrounding letters of jaeger-lecoultre's name is executed in dark chocolate. And inside, when you break it open, you can see there are fruits and berries. So you have white chocolate, dark chocolate, and of course berries, which really is the perfect combination. You really cannot go wrong. And for this dessert, you were supposed to top it off with mushrooms, but I wasn't daring enough, and I didn't want to ruin my palate. So I'm sure it tasted nice, but I wanted to enjoy it as it is. The drink to pair with this menu was also specially created from a fleshy pulp that surrounds the beans inside a ripe cacao pod. So also made of chocolate, but it tasted somewhat refreshing instead of sweet. So really enjoyable also. Now moving on to the next menu item, which I think is probably the most unique in terms of presentation. This is the Éclat de Caviar, and it has black olives and chocolate. For the topping, you are supposed to spray on this fig tree scent, and I was cautioned to use it very sparingly. So I did, but I didn't know what I was tasting. It was still okay, and I was still able to enjoy the chocolate. So I'm not sure what it is.
Sorry?
Yeah. I don't know what I'm tasting. Everything is new. Everything is new to me.
So you're not from which floor? No.
But I love that this dessert is presented in a metal tin that is evoking of the shoe polish that were used by polo players to shine their boots. And of course, it's supposed to look like caviar pearls. And I think overall, this is probably my second favorite chocolate from the menu so far. Moving on to the last item, which is the Dessert de Cavalier. And this one is a classical chocolate-coated biscuit that is beloved by every French school child. So this one is very sentimental dessert. If you are French and you are watching this video, let me know if this is what you had when you were growing up. So this is simply just a biscuit, and then on top of it you have milk chocolate that is branded with the Polo Club and jaeger-lecoultre design. So what's not to love about a simple biscuit and milk chocolate combination? A really nice and a nice way to end the whole menu tasting. But of course, what's a jaeger-lecoultre event without trying on some of their watches? And here you can see some of the latest novelties for 2025. This is the Reverso one, precious colors, and also the precious flowers. Immaculately done, the execution is phenomenal. And I'm going to end this video with the ultimate Reverso, the minute repeater. Enjoy.